this comparison before to John Kennedy. It was at that same venue, American University, in 1963, not too long after the Cuban Missile Crisis, where then President Kennedy said, you know, now's the time we got to rein in all of this nuclear stuff, and I'm going to talk to the Soviets. And the analogy back then was, why the heck are you talking to the Soviets? We can't trust them. They're duplicitous SOBs. Well, I didn't say it like that, but the kind of the same stuff they're saying about the Iranians. The president is going to freely quote what John Kennedy said at the time. This is from John Kennedy at the time. No treaty, however much it may be to the advantage of all, however tightly it may be worded, can provide absolute security against the risks of deception and evasion. The president then went on to say that is JFK, but it can if it is sufficiently effective in its enforcement and is sufficiently in the interest of its signers, offer far more security and far fewer risks than an unabated, uncontrolled, unpredictable arms race. Now, that is the exact argument that this president is going to make for a deal with Iran. Now, there are obvious differences. One was a superpower to our equal that we were dealing with, trying to avert another world war. This, to many, is hardly in that league, and in a far more duplicitous nature here. That I think my next guest would say the comparison stop and end right there. Congressman Peter Roskam is from the fine state of Illinois. He says that, look, as things stand now, the JFK selling pitch notwithstanding, are going to vote against this deal. Now, Congressman, I always think that on a pure marketing stance to try to market a support for this deal, it's clever on the part of the president to go to American University to quote John Kennedy. You argue it is apples and oranges, though, and he's doing an injustice to JFK. But what do you make of that pitch? Because I think he's reaching out to your Democratic colleagues who are on the fence and don't know where to go. What do you think?
Well, he's reaching out, but he failed yesterday. Congresswoman Nita Lowey, Congressman Steve Israel, Congressman Ted Deutsch, all of them leading Democrats on foreign affairs issues in the United States House of Representatives, has said they applaud the president for trying to pursue the peace deal with Iran, but they're not going to support this. And the reason is
they go out,
because
I quote Barbara Boxer and Tim Kaine and Bill Nelson, Nancy Pelosi, of course, who say yay on this. And isn't this all about getting a veto override-proof majority going here, that he knows he's going to lose. He knows he's going to lose, but he doesn't want to lose big.
Yeah, look, I mean, that's where all the action is. So without a doubt, the Democrats in Congress are going to make the decision on this, and they're going to have a huge responsibility moving forward. So 3 leading Democrats yesterday came out against it. Some Democrats are coming out in favor of it. But look, if the president says trust his instincts are wrong. He called ISIS the junior varsity. His instincts were wrong in Libya. They've been wrong with Putin, and they've been wrong all across the globe. And the weakness, Neil, in the argument as it relates to verification. Now, he's trying to dismiss this by making a JFK comparison and saying, well, JFK spoke that you can't have an airtight deal, but the president's own deal has problems in it, and it's this. There isn't the 24/7, 365 type of intervention and inspection that would be implicit in any sort of deal. And in fact, you can't even get to the Iranians for 24 days, and that's at the front end with tons of disclosure. So look, the president and Secretary Kerry have made an argument that is a flawed argument. And their argument was, you either go with this deal or we're going to war. But all during the negotiations, Neil, they said a different thing. They said no deal is better than a bad deal. And if you argue no deal is better than a bad deal, then you're arguing implicitly that there was an alternative. And it's a false claim now for the White House to say there's no alternative but war.
Fair enough. Congressman, thank you very, very much. And on that notion that the Congressman pointed out here, that no deal is better than this.